Hey, ladies, and welcome back to the Rooted Mama podcast. So, we have a 2-part series coming up in the next couple of weeks, and that's because the mama that I'm interviewing today is actively pregnant. And when we did this first interview, she was about 18 or 20 weeks along. We didn't actually ever talk about exactly how far along she was, but she actually talked about making a pretty significant change with her provider halfway through her pregnancy. And at the time that we were talking, she hadn't yet made the switch. And I just thought it was really important to follow up with her and just to hear how it went, because she actually went from an OB to a midwife. She's still planning on giving birth in a hospital, but she chose to go with a hospital that offered midwifery care. So I wanted to do a follow-up, and it was so worth it because it actually allowed us to kind of like track her progress, like her thought process, her research, all of the things that had changed in her pregnancy. So in this episode, you're hearing part 1, where she was at the start. And then next week, you'll hear part 2, where she shares kind of the updates. She's now gone to a midwife. She's picked a doula. She's done a lot more stuff. So I'm really excited for y'all to kind of like go on this journey with this mama. She is the sweetest person in the world. I love her so much. Her name is Tiffany. And yeah, so enjoy the episode. Welcome to the Rooted Mama, the podcast where motherhood meets wisdom, support, and empowerment. I'm Destiny, a mother on a mission to help women embrace a healed and fulfilling version of motherhood. Whether you're planning for your first baby, navigating pregnancy, or already deep in the parenting journey, each episode features real conversations with women in every stage of motherhood, insights from experts, and practical tips to help you feel grounded and confident. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi, Destiny.
So I know that you are a former Texans cheerleader. So I want to know, what is your favorite moment as a Texans cheerleader?
My favorite game was the pink game. It was like an October game. It was one of my last ones that we were able to perform on the field because the next year COVID happened. So it was like a 2019 game, and my best friend's mom had just survived breast cancer, and she was like a mom to me. So being able to honor her at that game and perform was awesome. That was my favorite.
Oh, I love the pink game. Like I always loved looking at like the performances or even like the pictures and stuff that you and like the other girls shared like on Instagram and stuff. I just love what it means, what it stands for, all of the things. So that's good.
Yeah. And the outfits are cute too.
They are so cute. I didn't want to be shallow, but yeah, it's the outfits. Tell us about yourself. Like, are you married? What do you do for work? What are your favorite hobbies?
Yeah, I just got married in August, and we had kind of planned to get pregnant like immediately. We really wanted to start trying right after we got married. So we told each other, like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, oh well. But, we're not going to do anything to prevent having kids. So the first time we, I guess you'd call it tried. It was successful. We were super excited. And that was like back in September. And I remember I was like literally one day late. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I should take a test. Like, this is so exciting.
Wait. I have a question before you go on.
Yeah.
Because you knew that you were going to try right away, was there anything that you did or were doing before you guys started trying? Like, was there anything that you did for your body or like anything like that beforehand?
So I've always been pretty like cautious on what I put into my body and like on my skin and my hair. So I was like very hyper focused on like what shampoo I was using, conditioner, body wash, taking prenatals and DHA. And then obviously like food. I would eat like healthy, and I was drinking a lot of water. But I wanted to prepare my body to have like a safe space and a home for my baby. So that was kind of the prep before, but it was nothing like crazy, just preparing my body for my baby's home.
Did you know, like, were you super aware of your cycles? This is going to get deep. This is a
Yeah, yeah,
so like, were you aware of your cycle? Did you have a normal cycle? Were you aware of
yeah,
it? Like, how were you tracking all of that?
yeah. So I used the Flow app. Are you familiar with that? So I used that for a while and I would track it. So my cycles were very normal. I would have my period probably every like 28 to 30 days, but it was just right on track every month. So whenever it was like 31 days, I was like, hey, I think I could be pregnant. So I got a test in Italy.
I was gonna say you have to go back because this is actually really cool. So
Yeah,
y'all were on your honeymoon, right? Okay,
we were on
go ahead.
Italy. So I was also kind of confused because obviously they're like 8 hours ahead of us. So I was like, wait, is today the 31 day or is it the third? Like I had to do the math in my head. And then everyone's like, take the test in the morning. But I was like, well, technically, this is like Italy's morning, but our night. So I don't know. I was just like thinking of so many different scenarios in my head. But so we got the test. I took the test on the 31 day that so it was one day late. And then that morning I found out that I was pregnant. And it had like encinta, which means like, which means like expecting. And I had to Google what that meant. I was like, am I pregnant or not? Just tell me. And yeah, it turns out I was pregnant. And then the rest is history.
So I'm laughing because I remember when you sent me the screenshot, or no, you
Yeah.
sent me the picture of the pregnancy test.
Yes.
I was laughing because I mean, I saw the lines and I was like, okay, she's pregnant, but I was like, why is your test in Spanish? Totally forgot that you were on your honeymoon and then you were like, Destiny, we're in Italy. You have to
Oh my
walk us
God.
like go backwards. Like how did this day start? Like where'd you get it?
So we were leaving the Amalfi Coast, and they don't really have like actual pharmacies there. And if they do, they have weird hours. So I couldn't get a test from these like pharmacies. So we had to go to the train station that day because we were going to Tuscany the following day. So when we were at the train station, I was like, hey, we can go into this pharmacy. They have a test.
Yeah.
So I just got like a digital test from there. And so I had it that night. But again, I was in my head, like, I can't take it because it's like in the afternoon. It's technically the 30th day. So I had to wait that next morning for your like HCG levels. And so I took it that morning, and that's whenever it said, like, instant.
Okay, that makes more sense. So like you didn't just find this random pregnancy test laying around.
No. And then after that, I took like 20 more. And I was like, I don't need the words. I just need 2 lines. I got my.
Oh, but that's so exciting. So like I am curious to know how was the rest of your trip? So you go for a honeymoon and it's already special. And now you know that you're pregnant, like you guys just created life together. So I want to hear like how that changed the rest of your trip.
So funny enough, we only had like I think 2 days left. And so we found out like the morning or 2 mornings before we were about to leave. And that morning was like so special because we were just like so excited. We couldn't believe we were going to be parents. Like this was a moment that we had dreamt of forever, especially like, we just got married and we're on our honeymoon. It's so special. So it was really fun. And then I kind of started getting worried because I was like, I'm not eating like I usually eat. The food was really good, but I really got tired of like pasta and the same thing. And I was kind of getting like grossed out by it. And I kind of just wanted to go home because I wanted to get back into my routine. I wanted to get back into working out. I wanted to be like healthy for the baby. So it was great and it was exciting. But once that first day, like kind of like drifted by, the following day, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go home. Like I want to get back into my routine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And
But we were there for like 16 days. So maybe that's another reason why I was like,
yeah,
all right.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
So I wonder, like, were you ovulating on your wedding night?
Yeah, it's confusing. So my cycle is actually it was 7 days. So the first day of my last period was on the 17th of August. And then the last day of my period was the 24th, which is whenever we were married. That was the day we got married.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really on it. It was just like light.
Yeah.
Very, very light spot. I wouldn't even call it a period. So my app says I'm ovulating on that day, but was I?
Yeah.
I don't think so,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think we got pregnant in Italy.
Okay.
Like I'm almost positive because that's whenever I was ovulating for
Yeah,
sure.
that makes sense because if it was 16 days there, like here I go doing the
Yep,
mother the mother math. 16 days there and you find out you're pregnant on the 30th day, then you go 2 weeks back from that. That's ovulation.
exactly.
All right, whoever I gotta say this, whoever's listening and you are trying to get pregnant, this we're giving you some straight up facts, okay? Because these are the calculations you're gonna be doing. Because if you're ovulating, which is releasing an egg, right? Then typically it's in the middle of your cycle. And most women's cycles are somewhere around 30 days. So Tiffany said 28 to 30 days, right? So somewhere in the middle, that would be like the teens, day 14 or 15 or something like that, you would ovulate. And then 2 weeks after that, you would find out that you're pregnant. And it's weird because if you go to the doctor, then they'll say you're a month pregnant already even though you're not, you're only really 2 weeks pregnant. But it's just the way they calculate it because it's based off of your full menstrual cycle. So they're counting that whole cycle as a month of pregnancy. And so then you end up being pregnant for 10 months instead of 9 months, although you're actually really only pregnant for 9 months. So it's all very confusing. And I feel like a lot of women don't know that. Like they say that you're pregnant for 9 months, which factually you are, but then based off of their weird calculations, it's a whole extra month thrown in there. So
Yeah,
it's very weird.
that threw me for a loop too.
Hmm.
When I found out, I was like, I'm not 4 weeks. I'm like 2 weeks.
Right. It's so weird, but that kind of brings me into the next question that I had, which was now you're pregnant, you get back home, and how are you feeling? Like, did you notice anything right away, like any symptoms, or did it take a while for any sort of symptoms to show up?
Yeah. When I got back home, I was really relieved because I was able again to like eat what I needed to and like remain working out. I really didn't start feeling bad until about like 6.5 weeks. And during that point, it was very rough. I could barely keep anything down. I couldn't leave my room. Everything had to be dark. And it remained like that from like 6.5 weeks until I was like 12 weeks. And then once I was 12 weeks, I was still like vomiting. So I completely stopped vomiting about like week 14. But I would say the first trimester and then the first 2 weeks of the second trimester was really hard.
Why did everything have to be dark? Like, I didn't know that part. Was it
Yeah,
light sensitivity or something?
I think like it was the light, and I just wanted to sleep because my head was hurting from like, I
Mm.
guess, throwing up so much from straining. And it was just like because the sun was so bright, I don't know. It just gave me an even like worse migraine. Yeah.
Okay, so you had a migraine, and I love how I'm just like, oh, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just like these are the talks that need to be had because these are things that are actually really normal in pregnancy, especially in the first trimester. But like, if you don't know, you just kind of like get hit by a truck, and you're like, what is happening to me? But it's actually all like pretty normal, pretty standard stuff. Although I'm starting to question whether or not it should be normal. I think a lot of this has to do with like nutrient deficiencies and stuff. But for the most people, for most women out there, it is like pretty standard to have some pretty icky first trimester symptoms.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, so you had like the migraine, the nausea. Were your boobs hurting or anything? Because I know that was my
Yeah.
story.
Honestly, that was actually one of the telltale signs that I was pregnant. So on like day 30, I could feel like tenderness. And my husband was like, "You're pregnant." I was like, "No, I'm not." He was like, "No, you really are. They're never sore." So then that was definitely a telltale sign.
Yeah. Okay.
It got even more sore. And I
Yeah.
guess like the soreness never really went away.
Okay, so now we've gotten through the rough first trimester. When did you go to a provider and how did you choose a provider?
Yeah. So this is interesting. I went to the provider around 7.5 weeks. I thought I was 8 weeks, but then the way that the baby was measuring, it was 7.5. So we decided to go. For me, it was around the 8 week mark, and then my sister and my mom delivered me at the hospital that I would be going to originally. So we had picked the doctor that had the highest ratings at this hospital. Um, so I went to her. I really liked her. I loved my first visit. She was very like compassionate. She shared her story with me, and I felt like I could trust her. And then the second visit that I went to, it kind of just completely backfired. I had a few questions for her, just like blanket statements. Like, if I were to wait to get an epidural until, I feel like I absolutely have to have it, what would that look like? After I asked that question, it just went like from 0 to 100 so fast. She started talking to me about how that's like the worst thing that I can do. She told me that why would I want to go through that type of pain whenever there's something that I can easily be given that will take away the pain. She went into telling me that, I needed to stop looking up information on TikTok and hearing what other people are telling me and I hadn't even told her anything besides, what should I do if I want to delay this epidural for as long as possible?
Because you're pregnant, we have the opportunity to really flesh out things. Like with the mothers, we have to like blow through everything.
Yeah.
But because you're pregnant, I really want to like slow down. So you were talking about the provider. You said that she was rated highly or reviewed.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to know, like, is it just because she's keeping babies alive? Like, I'm curious to know, like, how she could be, like, what is the metric for being rated? Like, did people have reviews that they wrote and like said things about her, or was it just kind
Yeah.
of like 5 stars? Okay.
Um, there was one woman who, after she delivered, she like died on the hospital. And so the doctor was actually able to bring her back to life.
Oh,
And then,
wow.
and that happened in two of the reviews. So, I mean, I think she is a good doctor. However, she just didn't align with what I wanted.
Sure.
And like,
So that was my next question. When did you go back for the second one? The first one was around 8 weeks. What
yeah,
was your next appointment? Like
next
what,
appointment, 12 weeks.
12 weeks. Did you have any questions the first time around, like the first visit, besides like the basics? Or was it just kind of like you're going in, you're excited, you're getting like info, and then the second time around you came in with questions?
Yeah, the first time around, the questions were generic. It was, can I still work out? What can my heart rate get to? Can I have this still? What food should I avoid? Like, there were generic questions.
But you said that you went through, you had generic questions, and then the second time at 12 weeks, you're asking some more in-depth questions because now you've done a little bit of research and you have some more questions about kind of her practice, right? So before it was just kind of like, what do I have to do? Like, tell me what to do. And now it's shifted to, here's what I want to do. Will you support me? Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
yeah, so then she started. Oh, that was my other question. How old is this woman? Is she like, and like, has she been doing this a long time, or is she kind of like in the middle? Because that plays a role too.
She's been a doctor for 35 years. I don't know exactly how old she is, but she has definitely been in the practice for a long time. Yeah.
Because I feel like that definitely makes a difference, right? Like if someone's been doing something a really long time, that is can be comforting because they have been doing something a really long time. But at the same time, they have been doing it so long they don't want to be questioned and
Yeah.
they can get stuck in their ways. Now, if they're really good at what they do, who cares? But at the same time, when it comes to something like this, where you just want someone to kind of work with you on, you don't even know what you want. You may want the epidural, right? Like you're just saying, hey, if I want to prolong it, like, can we talk about it, right? And I think you did the right thing because you were using like experience of people that you know, right? As because I'm thinking about someone who's starting out, maybe they're pregnant, maybe they're not. They're kind of going to follow the same thought pattern that you have, which is you look someone up and then you like go based off of the experience of people that you love, that you know personally. So like you did all the right things that would make sense to me, like based off of what you knew at the time. So, okay, that
Yeah.
didn't work out. She's talking about TikTok. What happened next?
Well, she kind of went from like one topic to another, like super fast. She started talking to me. I just asked that one question, and then she just kind of like went down a rabbit hole about how mothers aren't vaccinating their children and how that's so bad. And this is why polio is going around. And like, it was just like she kind of opened up this huge can of worms. And as she's just talking, it just made me realize, okay, my beliefs don't align with your beliefs. Like what I want is not what you're saying. And I feel like I don't have a voice in my child's life. Right now, it's all what you want. And you're not the pediatrician. You are just the doctor who's delivering my baby. So I think after that, I just kind of made up my mind. I looked at my husband, and he knows me very well. He was like, this is not going to work. And then she actually, in the conversation, tried to get him on her side by asking him, well, what do you think? Um, where's your opinion in this matter? And of course, he takes my side. Um, and she didn't like that. So it just kind of spiraled.
A part of me wonders if, I don't know how to say this, but a part of me wonders if doctors like her, because there's so many, and like I say over and over again, I think doctors play a huge role. Like what you just said, the woman almost died, and that's good. Like they can save babies, they can save mothers, and they save lives in general. But I think it's starting to shift where women are becoming more educated on like not even what's happening, but more so like educated on how to follow their own intuition and how to ask the right questions. And it's kind of been this long-standing thing with doctors where they don't get questioned in those ways, right? They're used to getting questioned about what we're supposed to do. So like, tell me what
Mhm.
to do and I'll do it. That's the question. What do I do here? What do I do here? But then when you start to ask questions about like their practice or if they can help you do accomplish what you want, they don't really know how to handle that because it's just been such a long time of just being able to tell people what to do. So I don't even like hold it against them to a
Yeah.
certain, I don't hold it against them because I'm like, if you've lived your life as like king of the castle and then suddenly these peasants are coming and like asking you all these questions and like trying to find a better way through, it's just not, they just don't know how to handle it. So yeah, I think that's probably a part of it too. And then also, there is, I mean, people are learning things from TikTok. People are learning things, and like, there's nothing wrong with that because there's actual like doctors and scientists and professionals on these platforms who are actually opening people up to information that is helpful to them. Like, you should be able to ask those questions, and the doctor should just be like, "This isn't something that I don't agree with, but I'll give you the information, and then you make a choice." Like that's fine to do. Like informed consent is a thing for a reason. So, what did you do after that? If you didn't like this
Um,
one, where'd you go?
I immediately just started researching. Because at that point, I was just a little bit confused on what to do next because my husband was kind of like, I don't really want you to go the midwife route. I don't want to do a birthing center. I don't really trust that because he, wanted to do provider. So I just like researched. I asked some of my friends like who they saw, if they liked them, and they have like similar opinions and beliefs as me. Um, and the feedback I got was great. And so whenever I would try to book an appointment with these providers, it was like, oh, we don't take your insurance. So, and personally for me, I didn't really want to go that route. I wanted to have a midwife. Just because the whole setting with the provider, I don't know. That was a really bad experience and I was scared. So after I talked to my husband about it for a while, I was like, look, this is what I think is best for our family. And we really researched it and dove in together, and we ended up choosing this hospital that also has a midwife unit. So it's kind of like a really good compromise for us. So from there, we got the appointment set up, we got all my medical records transferred over there, and now we're good to go, and we're just going that route.
And how is it different? Like, so you've had a midwife visit at this point, right? Like you've gone to appointments with them?
No. So my insurance, it ends in February. So technically, I can still go to the provider that I'm seeing until February. However, I don't really want to do that just because of the experience. So we stopped seeing her. January 22nd is my last visit.
Okay.
So, yeah. So after this last visit, then we're going to go to the midwife, and that's February, right? Yeah, February 3rd.
I'm very curious to hear the difference in, and this is not even about birth. Like, I'm very curious to hear the difference you experience in the prenatal visits because I've had both at this point, and they are very different. Like even the prenatal appointment. So
Yeah.
we'll have to like do a part two and follow up once you actually get over to them because I think you'll have a different experience. But I didn't realize that you're still seeing the other provider. So like how is that going? Like you already know that you don't want to work with her. So how is that?
Yeah. It's It's interesting. So another funny story is in the beginning we thought we were having a girl. We like did this whole reveal and we were like, oh, it's a girl, and turns out that it's actually a boy. The way that like my family read the results, there was F's all the way down the screen. Um, and then the doctor had no notes at the bottom. So it was like, oh, F female, it's definitely a girl. And come to find out, it was final result, not female. That's what the F stood for. And the doctor was on vacation at the time, so she didn't input notes until like I think it was a week later. And in those notes, it said male baby. And of course, I didn't check. Like a week later, I saw F and it's a female. So that next appointment in December was really funny because Brad couldn't make it. And my best friend ended up coming with me. And I was like, just, telling her about how the results didn't spell out that I'm having a girl. And I thought it was so ironic. And so she looked at my phone and she was like scrolling and she sees in the doctor's notes, it says male baby. And I thought she was lying. I was like, you're kidding, right? Like, this isn't real life. This does not happen. No. The doctor came in. It was so funny. Like, honestly, that last appointment was like, I'm happy that it happened the way that it did and we didn't switch to midwife yet. Or else who knows how long we would have gone thinking that we were.
So is
Yeah.
there anything in your pregnancy that you're doing that's super important to you?
Okay, there's many things that are very important, but the number one thing is how I give birth. I just want to make sure that it's an environment where I feel comfortable and I don't feel like I don't have a voice. Because if it comes to it and say the day of I do want to get an epidural or I don't want to get an epidural, I want to have the choice to speak freely and not feel like my opinion or a belief or anything that I stand for is going to get in the way of how I deliver my baby.
And I'm curious to know, like, okay, you you said that you want a smooth birth. Like, what does that entail? What does it look like to you for a smooth? Because everything is, it looks different for everyone, right? So I just was talking to a friend who's had two babies, two births, and I
Mm-hmm.
can probably bet that what her smooth birth was might be different for you. And the same for me. So, like, what would you envision as a birth going the way that you would want it to go?
Mm-hmm. I definitely don't want to be induced. I want to wait until my water breaks naturally. And then whenever I go in, I just want to be in labor. I mean, this is all like, oh, I want this. I can't control this.
Wait, you
Yeah.
can do this. You can do
You
this.
can't control how long I'm in labor
No,
for.
no, you can't control it, but I'm gonna stop because I think there may be someone listening who's either pregnant or like going into it. And this is something that the world will tell you, like, don't say this because you don't have any control. You can envision what you want. It's just like going to school to become like whatever you want to become. Imagine if you go to college and someone's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, you want to be a lawyer?" You can't think about being a lawyer. Like, don't anything could happen. You could fail out of school. Like, you know what I mean? Like, imagine if people did that in other areas. Like, you want to become a massage therapist? Well, you never know what will happen. So, like, don't think about it. Don't envision yourself in your job, right? It kind of sounds ridiculous in other ways. So, I don't know why it's such a thing. And I feel like I could hear the words of others like in your ear, and like you can think about your birth, and it's okay. Like, you can think about it, and you could say, this is what I want, and like you don't have to say, well, I know that's not how it could go. It's okay if it doesn't go that way, but you still can be like, this is my ideal. I want to think about it like this. And if it doesn't, I know it won't, but like it's okay to envision it just like any other goal that you have in life, right?
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah. So I would love not to be in labor for very long. And then I would personally like to be able to deliver the baby naturally without any medication at all. And no tears, no rips, and just a smooth delivery.
So the birth, you had your top things that you don't want. You don't want to be induced, and you would like to deliver the baby naturally, but you're open to epidural as in tool. And as far as like when the baby is born, you want him to be on your chest. You want him to you don't want them to cut the cord. Like, all those things are good. I was wondering if there was anything that you wanted during the birth, like as far as to kind of create environment that's comfortable for you. Like, was there anything that,
Yeah.
okay.
I need to eat. Like, I eat so much, so often, pregnant or not. And if you tell me that I can't eat the whole time that I'm in labor, I feel like I'm not going to have the energy to push. And I want to be able to drink water, and I don't want to be like, holding my baby and like in this moment, but like starving. Um, so yeah, I think part of that environment is I need food to be able to have the energy to push out the baby.
Did you know beforehand, like before you got pregnant, that you can't eat in labor typically? Like, that's the standard? No. Okay.
I mean, yes, I knew it. It's hard to answer because I saw my sister go through many pregnancies, many deliveries, and I was even in the room with her. But I guess I didn't really like catch on to the fact that she can't eat. I saw her with ice chips.
It's so
Yeah.
interesting because I know we're talking about your birth plan, but I I asked that question because there's so many things that as women who have been around other women. So you have an older sister who has a bunch of kids, right?
Yeah.
And so you have your sister, and then you have other women. Like, I had kids before you, friends in your life who had kids, your cousin had a baby, right? And so like there's women around you who have children, who gave birth, and you were around, and there's still like such a disconnect. And you're not alone. I had the same stuff going on. Like, it's such a common thing, but there's so many things that we find out when we go through it, but somehow we're like so blind to it, seeing it in others. And I just wanted to point it out. And then I also was wondering like if there's anything else that was a shock to you or like popped up that you had no idea about in this journey so far, being pregnant.
I would say like the body changes. I wasn't expecting like I know this is like so minuscule, but how quickly you gain weight. Um, and I've never really been someone to like look at the scale like frequently, but at the time I was like nervous that I wasn't gaining enough or if I was like gaining too much. And so I would like kind of hyper focus on what my weight was. And that had a lot to do with my initial appointment at the doctor's office. She said that I was underweight and I needed to gain like 40 pounds in my pregnancy to have a healthy baby. Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's not true. Um, like I don't need to gain 40 pounds. She did say that, but it's untrue that I need to gain 40. So yeah, in the beginning, I was just very hyper focused. I was like noticing, that you get back fat really quick and you develop like fat in your thighs and all of these things like I wasn't really used to. So I was just really confused and I was a little worried like something was wrong. So as I researched it and as I talked to my friends, it's just like there's a hormone in your body, like the estrogen, that causes you to develop fat in those areas.
Yeah.
So,
And something that I thought about too is that I don't know if you were on birth control, but I feel like you typically don't take birth control. Maybe you like tried it, but like you and I were similar in that we really didn't do like the hormonal birth control. And I feel like that plays a part because there's a lot of women who take birth control. And with the hormones, it causes you to gain weight and all these like weird changes. Not always, but it can. And if you are not like if that's not your norm, that you are not used to being exposed to these hormones and stuff, when it does happen naturally, like through pregnancy, it's kind of odd because I felt the same way where I'm like, what's happening to me? And it was just because I have never been someone who's on birth control for a long period of time and or like any hormone therapy in general. So like it was just different, right? And I felt like when I talked to some of my friends who had been on birth control, it was like not surprising to them in a way because they had experienced like side effects of birth control.
yeah.
So I think that's a part of it too. Like you just kind of these hormones just hit and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah. Yeah. It is, and it was just like the increase in estrogen in my body.
Is there anything for our final moments that you would want to leave with a woman who's maybe pregnant like you or someone who hasn't gotten pregnant yet but wants to be? Like, is there any takeaways that you've gotten so far in your pregnancy?
I would just say do a lot of research before you make any decisions. Take a step back and take some breaths and research and really dive into what you want and your intuition. Then you're going to make the right choice for you and your family.
And I love what you said at the end there, which is making the right choice for you and your family because that's what matters most, right? Like I was talking to another friend for another podcast, and at the end, we came to the same conclusion where it was like her and I are friends, but like totally different. And what was okay for me may not be okay for her, and vice versa. And like it doesn't actually matter at the end of the day, as long as the mother, specifically mother, is making a choice that she feels good and confident about, right? Like that she's trusting her intuition, that she's feeling empowered by those choices. Like it doesn't matter what the choice is, as long as it's the good choice for you and your family, right?
No, like right or wrong answer.
No,
Like,
there's no right or wrong. I think that's where everyone gets all screwy because it's like, what should I do? Do what feels good to you. Do what feels good. Like literally wolves can keep babies alive. Like dogs and animals can keep human babies alive. And I mean, it's not pretty, but we've seen it. Like these rogue children come out. Like babies are built to survive. Humans are built to survive. And like the simplest thing is actually keeping a baby alive. And then after that, it's harder, right? So like you can do a lot wrong, and I'm not saying you should, but you can do a lot wrong and that baby's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things that could go wrong, and like they are going to be rocking and rolling through it all. So like you just have to release that pressure, release that burden of if you're doing something right or wrong, because chances are you're going to make a whole bunch of mistakes and like you're going to be just fine. Thank you, Tiffany. This was good. Thank you for tuning in to The Rooted Mama. I hope today's episode left you feeling inspired, supported, and a little more rooted in your own motherhood journey. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another mama or mama-to-be. Remember, motherhood is a journey best shared, so let's keep growing together. Until next time, stay strong, stay supported, and stay deeply rooted.